After the positive reception of the first G-Wagon 4x4 Squared and the subsequent redesign of the G-Wagon altogether, Mercedes-Benz had to follow up. I'm Nima from MBL Leasing, and this is a 2023 G63 4x4 Squared. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that bell so you're notified every time we release a new video, which is usually on Saturdays about 10 a.m. So as if the G-Wagon wasn't assuming enough already when it comes to off-road capability, they released the 4x4 Squared based off of the popularity of the 6x6. The first time they did this was in 2017. They did it for 2 years, 17 and 18. And if you click the link in our description, you can see the review that I did on the original 4x4 Squared. So that one was actually quite popular. And when they redesigned the G-Wagon, they kind of had to follow up on that whole idea. And they definitely weren't shy this time, because the original one was on average about $300,000 Canadian. And when they replaced it with the G63 4x4 Squared, which I'm standing next to right now, the price, original MSRP, was well over $500,000. The original was very popular and it was built on the old architecture of the G-Wagon. So when they switched to the new architecture in 2019, there was a lot of changes in the G-Wagon in general. And we're gonna go over a few of those differences. So this guy right here, we'll get some numbers out of the way. It's a 4-liter bi-turbo V8, 577 horse. It's pretty much the same engine that you get out of a G63. It's small displacement, but high horsepower. You can tell it shares a lot of design cues with the regular G-Wagon, like your bull bar and your grille and things of that nature. The color of this car is called G Manufacturer Platinum Magno. So Magno is Mercedes-Benz moniker for their satin finish paint. So this car is completely decked out in this really special paint. It also has what's called the Night Package and the Stealth Package. So Night Package and Stealth Package give you a lot of darker elements. Now, we'll start with the brush guard here. So the brush guard is actually obsidian black, but it's a matte finish. You've probably seen this brush guard on a lot of other G63s. It's a very popular option, but everything just kind of gets that satin finish, and they're dark. Your turn signals, which are sitting right on top of your rear fenders, are also tinted as well. Your mirrors are also that same obsidian black Magno. And you can't tell because this car has a really heavy duty roof rack, but that roof is also obsidian black as well. One cool difference that this G63 4x4 has over the truck that it replaced is that you're actually able to order this one with a brush guard. I always found it kind of silly that the old one, you can't get it. You have to do it aftermarket, but for a truck that looks this menacing and is designed to be in the wilderness, I'm surprised that it never allowed you to even equip the car with this feature. Well, it looks like they learned from that mistake, because with the new G63 4x4, you get that as well. So similar to other G-Wagons and any kind of cars that we've discussed that are turbocharged, you have a lot of intercoolers and heat exchangers. And these are all kind of nestled behind your front bumper and behind your front grille. Another element that you get as part of the Night Package is your gloss black Mercedes-Benz logo. So this doesn't stand out as much, and it just kind of blends in, and you have a radar behind here too. It's actually built onto a radar. Your badging is also gloss black, and your pots inside your headlights are also darkened as well. I think it really all ties in really well. You have a different Mercedes-Benz badge on this G-Wagon than you do on your regular Mercedes. It's almost kind of like a heritage badge. We have the old G550 4x4 Squared parked right here, just so you can kind of tell some of the differences and get an idea as to how the proportions and general look has changed. You can't tell, but this car is actually almost a foot longer, but that's mainly due in part to the fact that you have a spare wheel carrier on this G63 4x4, whereas the old one you didn't. The back was just nice and flat, and it's a full-size spare. These are 22-inch wheels with huge tires. It kind of adds more to the off-road look. Okay, let's make our way over to the side here. Now, one of the things that they carried over, it's not as crazy looking, but it still matches the idea or the look of the car that it replaced, is your widened fenders. It's hard to tell, but this car is actually 5 inches wider than the car that it replaced. So you still have wider fenders here that are kind of clad in carbon fiber, but with the old fenders on the old one were all one piece of carbon fiber. This has a wheel arch with almost a carbon fiber wheel arch extension. Still very expensive, but they still kind of really match that look. I'm 6'1", this truck is 7'5", okay? So These things are cool to have, but they don't fit in most residential garages. So if you have one of these, I hope you have somewhere to park it. It's hard to tell, like I said, and it doesn't look like it, but these are actually 22-inch wheels. You got such a thick tire on it that it kind of disguises that size. It's a 325 tire up front, and these are Pirelli Scorpion ATRs. These tires are suitable for the street, and you can get away with a lot of stuff when you're off-road as well. Just like the old one, obviously this thing is built for some duty or heavy duty, so there's a few things that kind of hint at that. So when we get down here and look at your wheels, you can see that this rim is attached to your hub with 8 lug bolts. The more lug bolts, the more heavy duty the vehicle can handle. It looks like they took the brakes right off of a G63. So you have a huge cross-drilled and internally ventilated rotor. I'm quite sure that Brembo makes these brakes, okay? Now, one thing that was cool about the old G550 4x4 was the fancy suspension. Now, that suspension had, I believe it was made by KW, and it had 2 shock absorbers and springs per wheel. They didn't do that here. Instead, you just have one single shock absorber. It's made by Monroe, believe it or not, and you have adjustable dampening as well. You know, this is one example as to how Mercedes-Benz kind of made the G-Wagon a bit more livable. And we're gonna go over a few more details that kind of explain that. The wheel looks pretty good. It's really spokey, and you have a nice AMG logo engraved right into the rim. You have these integrated mud flaps, which you'll need because these things pick up and kick up a lot of stuff, and it's got a nice little G on it, or Mercedes-Benz logo on it as well. That's a standard feature. Your carbon fiber here just kind of extends down and meets the front of your running board. There's more of that gloss black badging I was telling you about. Since it's an AMG, you're gonna see a few AMG logos everywhere that you wouldn't normally see on a regular G-Wagon, like on here. All this trim that goes, it's like forms the belt line of the car, is all carbon fiber as well. Normally it's just like a rubber. Another thing I like that they did with this one was that your running boards are black. Because with the old G-Wagon, one thing they didn't like was that your running boards are all decked out in chrome. So if you have a truck that's all murdered out, it just kind of stands out a bit too much, and it's a pain in the ass to wrap, schmap, or whatever it is that you want to do, paint it. Nothing ever, it never lasts or looks good, and it's nice now that you can get it from the factory. Here's those mirrors I was telling you about, a part of the stealth package. So these are painted black to match the roof. Speaking of the roof, one thing they carried over, which is kind of the calling card of this car, is your carbon fiber cowl. So this is actually even bigger than the carbon fiber cowl on the truck that this truck replaced. You still have your orange lights at the top here, and these are for vehicles that are above a certain size. And this is so motorists or other people can kind of get a better idea of the proportions of the car that's coming at them or that they see in their rearview mirror. You still have your auxiliary LED lights that are built into your cowl, but for North American spec 4x4s, they're deactivated from the factory. You can get them reactivated. I think you need a new wiring harness, or probably in this case, probably just some programming, but off-road use only. And it's really good because, like I said, this thing is over 7 feet tall. When you have lights this bright, this high, you can see for miles. Now, one thing that they added to this that they didn't have on the previous car is this roof rack. Now, this is a really heavy duty roof rack, and it's actually removable, but you can carry a bunch of stuff up there, and you can tell that it's a bit more conducive to off-road use, similar to that Toyota Sequoia TRD Pro that we did a review on, because that had a built-in roof rack as well. Doesn't do much for aerodynamics, but then again, it's a G-Wagon, so if you're after aerodynamics, not the truck for you. Okay, so back here at the rear wheel, it's a square setup, so the tire and wheel in the front, in the back is exactly the way it is in the front. So like I said, it's a 325 tire times 4. This thing has a very big footprint. When we make our way to the back of the truck here, you're gonna see some reminders, some things that are reminiscent of the truck that this replaced. One is this rear bumper. I explained to you with the old G-Wagon 4x4 squared is that since you're raising this truck over a foot, you're raising where the rear bumper is. So then it falls out of compliance with safety. So they had to replace it with something. And this looks even more crazy than the one on the original 4x4 squared, but that's what this is for. And that's so if you get rear-ended or something like that, that car doesn't end up underneath this truck, you know, because that's not good. This spare wheel carrier is enormous, okay, and it almost completely blocks this rear window. But you know, practicality is kind of thrown out the window when it comes to a truck like this, and that's okay, because that's kind of what this truck is designed to do, things that not a lot of vehicles can. So there's certain sacrifices to make when you do that. Now this spare wheel carrier is really big, and it's kind of clad in this carbon fiber, and it's almost engraved with the 4x4 squared logo. Not something you get with the old one. Gloss black 3-pointed star. It's part of that night package or stealth package. Now, one cool thing that you get with this roof rack is this little miniature ladder that you can use in order to access things that you're storing on the roof or carrying on the roof. The one cool little attention to detail is that on this rear bumper, on the very edge here, they've put a little grip strip, okay? Now, there isn't one on that side, but there is one on this side. That's because this is actually supposed to be like your first step when you're trying to access this ladder. Each of these rungs on this ladder also have a grip strip that are built in. So the idea is to put your foot here, and then you can kind of climb on top in order to access whatever it is that you have up here. So you have a few panels. This looks like those diamond cut panels or the diamond pattern panels that you see on other off-road or work trucks and stuff like that. There's a little recess in the middle here, and that's done to expose your antenna for your navigation and GPS. But you can store a lot of stuff up here, and it looks like it's built to last, built to take abuse. So the G-Wagon rear door is already a heavy door. It's almost like opening and closing a safe door. So when you have the same door on this and you're attaching a huge wheel like this, it's almost even bigger. It's almost like, because of the weight, it's almost a little bit easier to move, right? When it opens like this, it's easy to load things in here. Now you can see that the floor of this is up to my waist. So not sure what you're gonna put back here, but it's still decked out like a regular G-Wagon. So a couple nice touches. One is the diamond patterning, which this one has the G manufacturer interior with the quilted leather. That theme is carried on back here. It's got all carbon fiber interior trim. You kind of have a reminder of that right here. When you're in a vehicle this big, you got to be able to see what's behind you, especially considering this rear wheel is completely blocking your rear vision. In this little box here is your rear view camera. So I remember, you guys know how much I like things that are disguised. You can't really see a camera. There isn't one here. It's all hidden behind this glass. So I thought that was kind of a nice touch, and it's all tinted, so there's no way you can see it unless you were looking for it. This being a G63, you have kind of those exhaust pipes that come out the side. This has kind of become a hallmark for G-Wagons. Now on the original 4x4 squared, you do have the tips that are a bit more pronounced. But since this is a G63, they're oval, and they have the AMG engraving right in the exhaust tip. One quick thing that I wanted to point out on this car, believe it or not, the old one actually has about an 18-inch ground clearance, and this truck has about a 14-inch ground clearance. So it actually has less ground clearance than the truck that it replaced. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, because not a lot of people are taking these out in the bush, and 14 is still a lot. It's just, in some ways they made this truck less practical, in some ways they made it more practical, and that's kind of an example of that. But similar to the other truck, it still retains a lot of those features, like your heavy-duty front skid plate and things like that. I mentioned this before, Mercedes-Benz, they love their warnings, okay? So when you open the door here, it says right here on a yellow sticker, it says, "When driving with a roof load, drive attentively and avoid suddenly pulling away, braking and steering, as well as rapid cornering." Now, only in America do they need to let people know that if you're in a big truck like this, not to do any rapid cornering. There's nothing rapid about this truck at all. Okay, time to hop inside and have a look here. So, just like the old one, there's no really graceful way to do this, but if you just grab the steering wheel, hoist yourself up. Now, there's not a lot in here that kind of hints at the fact that it's a 4x4 squared, aside from the fact that you're sitting on extremely high. You do have a little badge on this grip handle here that says G63 4x4 squared, but aside from that, it pretty much looks like your regular standard issue G63. You got a nice steering wheel that's a combination of Alcantara and carbon fiber, and you have your drive control buttons on the steering wheel. Now this was something that wasn't available at the beginning of this generation. It was kind of integrated afterwards, and since then everyone has really liked it. So we're just going to fire the truck up just so we can kind of show what the car does. So this is where you can just easily switch between comfort, sport, and you actually have an additional driving mode called slippery. So that's kind of for snow or rain and things like that. So just like with all the other regular cars, or sorry, driving modes, there's a number of things that change, and they kind of are highlighted on your infotainment screen here. So you have your engine power, you have your the way your transmission behaves, you have your AMG drive dynamics, your shock absorbers, so your adjustable dampening, and it shows a picture of the exhaust, which kind of you can kind of the exhaust note changes notes. So when you're in Sport Plus, the exhaust is the loudest. But you also have a mode called Individual, where you can kind of pick your favorite setting on each of these and set it just to yourself. So if you like the exhaust to be loud but your suspension to be soft, you know, you can pick that. Now the neat thing is with these little buttons on the steering wheel, they're almost like little screens. So when you can't tell when the car is off, but when the car fires up, these buttons kind of come to life. And this just lets you select these driving modes a little bit easier, without having to distract yourself and have to dick around with your infotainment. Now this car's a 2023. For 2025, I think you got a touch screen. This one's not touch. It's almost like a combination of two tablets that are formed right underneath this cowl. You have a nice carbon fiber trim in here that kind of matches what you got on your doors and on your center console. They've updated all of this infotainment for 2025, but I find this to still be usable. You still have your touch sensitive pad here and your command knob for the MBUX system. And a lot of this stuff in here is very familiar to your regular G-Wagon. One thing that I wanted to mention is that the old G-Wagon 4x4 squared was built on old Mercedes-Benz, or more old G-Wagon architecture, which is body on frame. Body on frame means the car has like a really tough skeleton with the body that puts on top. Now with the redesign of the G-Wagon, it became unibody construction. So it's like the truck's put together almost like puzzle pieces. And the reason why this is good is because it doesn't intrude as much on passenger space and makes the car a little bit more, or makes the truck a little bit easier to drive. And with this 4x4 squared relative to the old one, you're going to notice that as well. Where you have more space as a driver, you have more adjustment of your steering wheel. You're not kind of limited by these factors. A couple party tricks is your ambient lighting. So your ambient lighting almost lights up your vents here too. It's behind your screen that makes your dashboard, or makes your binnacles and your screens here almost appear like they're floating. It's actually kind of nice. You can change these to any color. No G-Wagon is complete without certain off-road characteristics or off-road features, and the one that on your center console that is the most important is your lockable diffs. So you can lock the center, the front, and the rear axle. Now, this is not recommended for road use, and if you do that, you will destroy these differentials. But if off-road, where in lower traction environments, it's almost a necessity in order to help for this vehicle to navigate in environments like that. But definitely not for street use. With this truck, you still have you get a lot of the creature comforts that you would get in a regular G-Wagon, like heated and cooled seats, the upgraded Burmester sound system. All your switches for your seat adjustment are all on the door here, so you're not really dicking around trying to find stuff on the side of the seat. You still have a sunroof. Now right now with this the roof rack, it kind of blocks a little bit of the view. And like I said, that roof rack is removable, so don't think that you have to live with that, because you don't. And I've seen this truck when people have removed that, and I think it looks a little bit more slick, because let's be honest, if I'm going to be driving something like this, unless I'm going into the wilderness or in the desert or something, I'm not putting anything up there. Everything I'm keeping is in here generally. You have AMGs, or most Benzes actually, they have a watch. And when you get a G63, you have got a really nice watch here just in front of your cup holders, and that watch is made by IWC, International Watch Company. I believe it's Swiss, I think. And the numbers and the on the clock are actually match the AMG font. So when you look at the badging on the back of the car or on your grip handle here, the numbers kind of match. So I thought that was kind of a really nice attention to detail. Okay, now with these 4x4 squareds, you don't get out. You more or less just fall out or disembark. So, yeah. Oh, one thing that I wanted to point out that you're kind of greeted with is your stainless steel illuminated AMG tread plates. So that's kind of a nice invitation when you open the door. But there's a badge here, okay? And it says Mercedes-Benz Schaukel proved, okay? Schaukel is a mountain in Austria. And this was the proving ground that Mercedes-Benz spent the most time developing this truck. So think the Nürburgring, but off-road. That's what this badge means, and it just kind of says that this is kind of Mercedes-Benz's proving ground to kind of develop all of the off-road bits for this, because if it can traverse that, chances are it could probably traverse a lot of different locations throughout the world that would require this level of off-road capability. One thing that I had forgotten to mention that the G-Wagon 4x4 Squared has kind of been known for is the portal axles. So portal axles help with your ground clearance. So when you have portal axles, you actually your diff that is between your front wheels is actually situated higher, and your drive shafts actually go into the top of the wheel. Now, from what I've read, this system is actually a little bit further developed for the G63 4x4 Squared relative to the truck that it replaced. Now, that is a really nice feature for off-road, and that's what it's designed for. So just keep that in mind, because the more time you spend on the street with trucks like this, the more time or the more attention you kind of need to pay to these sorts of components, because it's streetable, but it's not designed for the street. But these are a lot, from what I understand, are a bit more agreeable and a bit more suitable, and not really something you have to worry about like you do with the old truck. Another thing that I wanted to mention is that word at the factory is that the old 4x4 Squared, despite being far lower tech than this, is the preferred 4x4. So for the guys that actually built these trucks, they kind of still stand by the old one. And I understand why, because this was originally designed as a service vehicle, the G-Wagon in general. So it was kind of designed for abuse from the get-go and has stood the test of time. This G63 4x4 Squared is beautiful, and it's like they took this one and ironed out all the wrinkles for street use. But I find that this one is a little bit more heavy duty and it's a little bit more heavy duty, and it can take more abuse. Whereas this one kind of just piggybacked off the idea of the original 4x4 Squared. And not to mention the fact that it's costs 60% more out of the box. So I kind of agree with some of these guys at the factory that they kind of like the old one because it's a bit more of a brute and a little bit more conducive to abuse. This one is kind of more about glamour and vanity, but it can still do a lot of off-road stuff. But that's the word at the factory. So tell me what you guys think. Did Mercedes-Benz do a good job with this new G63 4x4 Squared over the one it replaced? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe.